So a lot of my sophomore year and freshman year, my whole life, I used to be like really prideful. I used to like be me, and I used to just do my own thing. Like I would just hang out with my friends and do all these certain things. And I didn't feel like I had some type of worth or any type of value with anybody, and I just felt like worthless. And I know one story that stands out to me was I remember homecoming. We were playing Conan for the game. Sophomore year, I went with my friends to this homecoming game. That was my very first football game. Remember? We were there, and going to the game, I lose them. So I'm like, dang, where'd he go? So I'm like, all right. So I just go in the stands. I sit by myself, and then halftime comes around. I'm like, yo, this is dumb. So I just go on the path and I walk home. I used to live on Braintree. So walking on Braintree, I'll never forget it. I was like, dang, this is stupid. Like, what am I doing with my life? I'm walking down the street. I have no value. I have like no friends going with me, and I'm just like, there's like nothing going on in my life. So it was a dark time. I promise you. Like I would just go home, play video games all the time. It was just really boring. I felt like there was nothing for me to do. I had like no type of like skill. Didn't play baseball anymore. Tennis, kind of play tennis, but like, I didn't feel like nobody loved me besides physically like my parents. But I felt like there's more to that. Is somebody actually like loved me like that. So here comes like Jesus down the road, and going into end of my sophomore year, I go on a mission trip to St. Louis, and dude, it's crazy. I gained so much like of an understanding from Jesus about who's Jesus. Like, wow, it's crazy. And I just learned how much He loves me, and how much He cares for me, and that there's somebody more than physically that loves you. So I learned that going on the trip, and then I wanted to make a statement, so I accepted Jesus, and then I got baptized with the people on my trip. So that was really cool. I really liked that. And then a couple weeks later, we went on this church camp, which is crazy. And those three things kind of just fall into place. And then so my junior year comes around, and I get a phone call from this lady at church who asks me to do two things: one, to hold like youth group, and then two, to have uprising, lead uprising. And at the time, I was like, the heck is uprising? You never heard of it, but I said yes. So I mean, it's just crazy how God turns my life around from being feeling worthless and feeling like I have nothing to do, like I have no thing to bring to the table, and like being involved with like super fanning and being involved with like uprising and being involved with having house groups in my house. And before, like my freshman sophomore year, I never went to house groups. House groups is basically like youth group that the church provides. It's at somebody's house, and I would never want to go to that. But it's like a couple months later, it's at my house. So just God does some crazy things there. So that's kind of my small testimony, because like now I'm involved with a lot of things. But something that I keep on telling myself is not trying to not being prideful and not really prideful at the same time. So that's something that I need to work on. But just knowing that my identity is in Jesus, because I know Landon talked about that a little bit. Your identity can be anything. Your identity can be in football. Your identity can be in like money. It can be in popularity. It can be in like fitting in and stuff. My identity is in Jesus. But sometimes I get tempted by Satan to be like, hey, your identity is in like fitting in. Your identity is like being cool and all that type of stuff. But that shouldn't matter. And we get tempted all the time. And I'm not saying I'm perfect. I'm not saying I'm not gonna ever get tempted and stuff. But at the same time, I come back to the realization, knowing that Jesus is there. So with you guys, so now I want to talk about the gospel and what the gospel means. So with this, the gospel is basically, love it so much. So Jesus is right here, or God, right? AKA Jesus, God, Holy Spirit. They're all three in one. You guys, trust me, it's hard. It's hard to realize. It's like water. So there's water vapor, and then there's ice, and then there's water, like liquid. So they all are the same thing in one, but they share like different like characteristics, like unique and stuff. So here's God right here, and then here's us right here. So in between, there's a gap. Who do you guys